First of all, let me preface this by saying that I'm not skeptical about the paranormal. I do believe odd things happen for which there is no explanation, but I have led a pretty normal life, having never really experienced anything strange for the most part. That was, at least, until I met my current girlfriend. We began dating back in October 2010, and I don't know about you, but I always find the question about believing in ghosts crops up pretty early on during a relationship. It was no different on this occasion, and having asked my girlfriend this question as we sat eating a meal, she categorically told me that yes, she did in fact believe in ghosts, and as a matter of fact, the house she was currently living in, it was haunted. She elaborated on what she had been experiencing, and in all honesty, it was pretty tame stuff. The usual bangs in the night and movements seen out of the corner of the eye. I tried to make her feel better by saying that they were probably just standard house noises, floorboards creaking back into place, etc. But she wasn't convinced. I have to say, I was a little doubtful about the possibility of a ghost being responsible for the activity, but even so, I was quite intrigued. Fast forward 6 months and our relationship had gone from strength to strength, and I was now staying at her house on weekends. As fate would have it, nothing ever occurred whilst I was there. The weird occurrences only seemed to manifest during the week, and she told me that it was getting worse. I felt concerned because she had 2 young boys, aged 3 and 4, and they were also experiencing things. I'm ashamed to say it, but I had a hard time believing the tales they were telling. This all resulted in a minor argument with my girlfriend one particular weekend. I made an off-the-cuff remark dismissing the occurrences as the result of an overactive imagination, and when the issue came up of nothing ever happening whilst I was in the house, I made a joke that perhaps the ghost, it was scared of me. This proved to be a terrible mistake, because later that night, whilst we were in bed, we heard a crash from the spare room. When we investigated, we found that a piggy bank, which usually sat on a windowsill, it was smashed on the floor, and there were coins all over the place. There seemed to be no explanation for it, because even if the window had been open, which it wasn't, the piggy bank was made of china and full of loose change. There's just no way it could have been blown off or knocked onto the floor by a small creature, such as a mouse or something. From that night onward, the occurrences began to manifest whilst I was in the house. They were small things at first. Ornaments would fall off shelves for no reason. We'd hear the odd knock or footsteps upstairs when no one was up there. The kids kept their toys in the spare room, and we'd occasionally hear someone rummaging through them, and even playing with them, even though no one was in the room at the time. We'd all go out for the day and come back to find things stacked in odd piles, and then there were the shadows we'd see peeping around door frames. These were not optical illusions. Me and my girlfriend and one of our dogs were sat watching TV one night, and all 3 of us turned our heads towards the doorway at the same time, as if we'd all seen it peering around the door. If things were getting spooky enough whilst I was there, they were becoming terrifying for my girlfriend during the week when I wasn't there, and on many occasions she rang me in tears, begging me to come over and stay the night. On one night, she'd been enticed into the spare room by the sound of a child crying, and when she went inside to investigate, thinking that it was one of her boys, the door, it had slammed shut behind her, all on its own. On another occasion, she had woken to hear footsteps walking back and forth around her bed, and the night after that, she was woken again because she felt a hand grabbing at her foot. When she sat up to see what it was, there was a black figure crouched down next to the bed. All of this was very frightening, but there was one particular event which would prove to be utterly horrifying. It was a weekend and I was staying over as usual. For some reason, I woke up at around 3 in the morning and I couldn't get back to sleep, so I just laid there, awake. I began to feel like something was in the room, watching us, and I was about to turn over and get my head under the covers when all of a sudden, there was this tremendous bang. It was so loud that the whole house, it vibrated. This was followed by a horrendous groaning sound, like every wooden beam or joist and nut and bolt in the house was under strain, being pushed right to the very limit. It sounded as if the entire house was about to collapse or something, and then it just stopped, almost as suddenly as it started. Immediately after this, we heard footsteps running across the landing and down the stairs. It sounded like there were 2 or 3 pairs of feet. My girlfriend and I, we immediately jumped out of bed, and we went straight into the boys' room to make sure they were okay. Only one of them was awake, the youngest, and he was as white as a sheet and scared stiff. We then asked him what had happened, and he said that he had seen someone on the landing. When we asked him what he saw, he simply said, "Batman." This may sound silly, but both myself and my girlfriend, we believe that he had seen that dark figure which she had seen before, and the only thing his 3-year-old mind could associate it with was his favorite superhero. He came in and slept in our bed that night, as he was just too frightened to stay on his own. A couple of days later, I decided to come around in the week due to the events of the previous weekend, just to make sure that everything was okay. I was having a little after-work doze on the sofa. The boys were in the living room with me watching cartoons, and my girlfriend was upstairs in the bath. Both of the boys had mobile phones, old ones which used to belong to me and my girlfriend before we upgraded. They couldn't make calls on them, they just used them for the cameras and to listen to music and to play various mini-games. I wasn't really asleep, just snoozing, but all of a sudden, I became fully awake. I turned my head to the youngest and saw that he was taking a picture. I wouldn't have thought anything of it because he was always taking pictures, but what I found odd was the fact that when he did take pictures, it was usually of me, his brother, and his mum or our pet dogs. In this instance though, he was aiming the camera into mid-air towards the kitchen, snapping a photo of nothing in particular, and out of interest, I asked him what he was taking a picture of. He then said, very quietly, "Batman." At this point, a sudden chill ran up my spine. I asked to see the phone, and when I came to the last image he'd snapped, my blood, it turned to ice. This is the picture. G'day mates, it's B-Buster here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video guys. And I guess you could say that with a Batman ghost around the house, that family had one hell of a dark night. For all my Batman fan lovers out there, you guys are going to get that joke straight away and going to think, damn, that was good. For all you other people there, you're going to be like, what the hell? It's just another bad pun. Don't worry about it, guys. Just move on. Let's just get the end of this video over and done with. Thanks again to the Hive member that bravely shared their story for us all here, and I hope you're doing well, mate. For the chance to have your story feature in a video, you can send your story to my email, which is in the description below. And as always, keep them coming, guys, as this channel relies upon your stories to continue. Also, please do me a favor and just state in your email what your story is about in the description, and also provide me with a short written statement of consent just so that I can be above board with everything. And also, please remember to tell me in the email if you would like to remain anonymous, and please change any names if you don't want particular names to be shared. As always guys, it would be awesome if you could like, share, comment and subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for updates throughout the week. You can also catch me on my second channel, all of which have links in the description below. Thanks for always tuning in guys and for all the love and support, and I'll see you mates in the next one.